see the PowerPoint now?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, so like Kim said, we're going to go over the Spring Readiness family meeting. I wanted to go into the details of the meeting. So I'll start out with a general overview, and then I'll dive into the details and what resources we have available to you as troop leaders. And then from there, I can answer any questions. So I want to introduce myself briefly. My name is Megan Dewis. I'm the Volunteer Support and Services Coordinator. I oversee a lot of projects for our department. I work with your CME and make sure that she has everything she needs to help you have what you need, and just in general oversee a lot of the different projects, help oversee a lot of the different projects that we have going on at GSNEO. So just a quick reminder for the Zoom technology. I want to make sure that everyone understands that you're more than welcome to ask questions throughout this whole webinar. If you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, feel free, or you can use the chat log. That's all there available to you. You know, we don't get to talk face-to-face as often as we'd like to, so this is kind of the next best thing. So we always encourage people to use their video if they can as well. Okay, so the Spring Readiness Family Meeting, let's dive into this. So the Spring Readiness Family Meeting is your chance to let everyone's voice be heard, parents, girls, and volunteers. This is a chance for leaders, parents, and girls to come together and make important decisions that will shape the remainder of the 2018-2019 year, as well as prepare for the 2020 year, which may seem like a long way away, but the conversations should start now in order to ensure that everyone's voice is heard and you can be successful. Girl Scouts encourages all troops to work in unity with everyone involved. Parents should be vested in their Girl Scout experiences, and girls' interests and goals should be the #1 priority of the troop. The meeting is a chance for girls, parents, and troop leaders to come together and make important decisions about the future of the troop together. So before I go into the details, there are 2 notes that I'd like to make. First of all, as we go through the training and how this meeting should work and what the purpose of it is, please keep in mind that all of the information and the answers to the questions that parents might ask at the meeting is already at your fingertips. As a troop leader, you're already aware of and understand how your troop works, and the purpose of this meeting is simply to make sure that parents, girls, and other volunteers are aware of that information too. So keep in mind that while you're going to go over a lot of information during this meeting, a lot of it is information that you likely already know and are familiar with. Secondly, this meeting can be customizable and is based on the culture and the needs of your troop specifically. It's a guide to help the troop make unified decisions that will allow you to function in a way that best suits your girls' interests and goals. And we provide that information as a resource for volunteers and parents to stay on track. And we provide checkpoints throughout that will help you tie those decisions back to council so that we can then keep track of your troop's goals. And this meeting is a way to bring everything together in a manner that works best for your troop. So the goal of the meeting is simple. It's to provide an opportunity for parents, girls, and volunteers to make their voices heard and to make an important decision regarding finance reports, cookie season, and spring renewal that reflect the goals and interests of the girls in the troop. And I hope that this goal is something that we can all agree with. You know, we want girls' voices to be heard, and we want them to be the champions of their specific goals and their dreams. And we want Girl Scouts to be for them what they wanted it to be in the first place, if that makes sense. We want them to have the experience that they were hoping for when they initially signed up. So the 3 main topics that you'll talk about are troop finances, cookie season, and spring renewal. These are the topics that are the most important and most prevalent things that are coming up during the spring season. And before I go on, I want to make sure if there are any questions that come up in the chat log, just feel free to interrupt me at any point. I'll just go on and on, so you'll never find a break. So just interrupt me if you have a question. So parents, girls, and volunteers can ask questions about each of these topics and discuss those questions, and then make important unified decisions based on the unique values and goals of your troop specifically. And remember that we encourage you to keep the conversation geared towards what the girls want for the troop. Some of the decisions will be called checkpoints, and they will need to be reported back to council through a troop consult meeting with your community membership executive or your CME. This meeting is your chance to let us know what your troop's goals are and what your interests are and how you will be successful in the coming year. And it's also to help let us know how we can help you be most successful in those goals. So remember, we're here to help you. We want every single girl in Girl Scouts to have an amazing experience, and this meeting is a tool for us to help you do that through direct communication with the staff. So how will this meeting help your troop specifically? We get a lot of feedback from surveys that we put out, and the input of our volunteers and parents mean a lot to us at GSNEO, which is why we put out a lot of surveys. So we always encourage you to participate in those surveys. In a recent survey to parents, we received some pretty important results that told us that troops who host parent meetings have happier girls, happier parents, and a more successful troop overall. Why? Because expectations are clear. Parents know what's going on in their girl's troop, and they can advocate for their girl. In our survey, parents who had parent meetings answered the following questions in positive ways. How satisfied are you with your girl's experience in Girl Scouts this year? How satisfied are you with your own experience as a parent or guardian in Girl Scouts this year? Girl Scouts offer the types of activities my girl wanted to do. I can describe the specific benefits that my girl gets from Girl Scouts. My girl got opportunities that she would not have otherwise had. My girl gained new skills and knowledge. My girl's troop leaders are well prepared for their meetings and are organized, effective planners who communicate in a clear and timely manner with parents and guardians. I mean, I could go on for this for another 10 minutes with all the benefits, but I think you get the picture. Parents whose troop leaders include them in the conversation and allow them to advocate for their girls' specific needs, interests, and goals have a much better experience with Girl Scouts, and their girls and their troop are overall more happy and successful. Having the Spring Readiness meeting will serve that purpose exactly. It lets parents' voices be heard, it lets girls' voices be heard, and it'll allow your troop to grow and be successful in its own way. Your troop is unique, and you should embrace that. It is also meant to keep parents informed in what is coming up in the spring season and keep expectations clear and let them know what is going on in their girls' troop. So you might be wondering how to plan the meeting. Well, first things first, you should plan a parent meeting. We recommend getting as many parents to come to the meeting as possible since their input matters and will be needed for the plans your troop makes. GSNEO has created a customizable Spring Readiness family meeting flyer, which is available on the Nook under Troop Leader Basics resources, and then Spring Readiness meeting, which I'll be showing you that later. The flyer will be available soon. It's currently being created by our marketing department, so that will be uploaded, but I'll show you where you can find it. You'll be able to customize the flyer, so change the date, change the location time, and then you can hand that out to parents. So the meeting itself should be, the readiness meeting should be in December, January, or February, and you can hand out the flyer at the meeting preceding your Spring Readiness family meeting. So if you're going to be in January, then we recommend handing out the flyer at your December troop meeting, and that way parents can know what to expect at the next meeting, and that they can expect this parent meeting. We recommend having the meeting when your troop is already meeting, since that is already on parents' schedules. So you could either have the parent meeting in place of that day's troop meeting or directly before or after. And it will likely take 60 to 90 minutes. So you should expect some extra questions at the end as well. You know, I'm sure parents will have questions. So we also recommend letting them know that you intend to stick around for a few minutes afterwards. And if you're unsure if parents will attend, we encourage offering some sort of incentive maybe, or maybe provide some snacks or beverages for the parents. Let them know, most importantly, I think, let them know that it's really important that they come so that they can advocate for their girl's voice. Now, GSNEO will provide you with 2 handouts for your meeting. The first is for parents, and the other one is for you, the leaders who are facilitating the meeting. Both the handouts can be found on the Nook under Spring Readiness Family Meeting in Troop Leader Basics resources. The Leader's Facilitation Guide will include the information you need to facilitate the meeting, and the Parents' Spring Readiness Guide will include a more abbreviated version. And both will include a notes section as well as additional useful resources, such as how to access the volunteer toolkit for parents, what opportunities are available, things like that. More specifically for the Leader's Guide, it includes a brief agenda, a section dedicated to best practices for an efficient and successful Spring Readiness meeting, detailed notes, discussion prompts, and checkpoints for each of the 3 main topics. Remember, the checkpoints are what you're going to be giving back to your CME during your troop consult meeting. A notes page where you can write additional notes that come up during the meeting, additional resources such as Nook trainings, VTK tips, more GSNEO resources, which will be available towards the end of the month as well on the Nook. And actually right now I want to show you how to get to that on the Nook. So I'm going to bring up, can you see the Nook right now? I don't see faces, so I'm going to assume if no one's picking up.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. Okay, so I'm on the home page of the Nook, so I'm just going to scroll down to Troop Leader Basics. And then in Troop Leader Basics, I'm going to click on Troop Leader Basics Resources. And then in here we have a section that is titled Engaging Families, and Spring Readiness Family Meeting is down here in a bolded section. So I'll show you what the Leaders Facilitation Guide looks like. It's a total of 6 pages, and it's just got a lot of information here for you to read beforehand. It includes in the best practices section what to bring, how long it could be, how you can prepare for it. And then on the next page is an abbreviated agenda, as well as the more detailed sections. And in the shaded purple boxes here, you can see these are the checkpoints, the questions that you should be answering to give back to your CMEs so that we can know those answers. And then in Spring Renewal, we include a box that includes the reasoning why we ask troops to renew early, so that if parents are wondering, well, why do I have to renew in April or May, then you can answer them with these questions here, which I think that's just good for everybody to know in general. And then the checkpoint questions for Spring Renewal, notes section, and then a comprehensive checkpoint summary where you can write out all of the answers, and you can have that available during your troop consult meeting with your CME to just answer those questions pretty efficiently. And then I'll show you pretty quickly what the Parent Spring Readiness Guide looks like, which, like I said, is an abbreviated version of that. So they don't have quite as much detail. It's just the detail that they will need to know about the troop and what they can expect for the spring season, and how you know, they can make notes about what decisions you've made and things like that. So those are the handouts. Bring up any questions about how to access that? Okay, so bring back up my slideshow. Okay, so that's the Leaders Facilitation Guide and the Parents Facilitation Guide, and a quick some quick tips about how to print out the handouts. If you have, say, 10 parents coming, you may not want to print 10 handouts. So here's a few things you could do. You might be able to ask your local library if you could print something there, maybe email the handout to parents and then ask them to bring their own copy, or you could bring just a few handouts for parents to share and then also email them a digital copy so that they can have their own. But also provide notebook paper for them so that they can take notes, maybe bring some pens and pencils for them as well. Okay, so now into the specifics of the different topics. Your troop's finances is one of the most fundamental aspects of your troop's function. We know that. We just had a whole webinar dedicated specifically to managing your troop finances. At Girl Scouts, we encourage all troops to be transparent and honest and inclusive in their financial decisions. And that's why we think it's essential for you to discuss this with your parents, and especially the girls in the troop. Including girls, I'm sure you all know this and you'll probably agree that including girls in troops' financial management and decision making will give them a sense of purpose and accomplishment, and will teach them the important financial responsibility and skills that will benefit them for the rest of their lives. And during the troop finance discussion, you'll cover what is a finance report, when is it due? And again, remember that it's due on June 12th, 2019, not June 30th like it has been in previous years. And going forward, it'll be the second Wednesday of June every year. You also talk about how your troop specifically is handling finances and what your upcoming expenses are and how you're earning money, maybe through product sales or money earning projects. And you can also let the parents know how to view the finance report, which they can do through the parent view on the VTK. Which how to do that will be in their additional resources as well. And then the finance report checkpoint is just answering the question, which leader is submitting the 2019 finance report and when? Okay, cookie season. Cookie season is probably going to be in full swing by the time you're having your spring readiness meeting, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be talking about it. It puts what girls have been learning about finances into practice. So having, cookie season takes what girls are learning about managing their troop money, incomes and expenses, and then they actually get to go out and they get to practice those skills. So that's really, really cool for them. Cookie season, let's see, a few things that you're going to be talking about during cookie season. We'll have the cookie season schedule included in your handout. And we have 2 patches that we would really think that girls should know about and parents should know that is an opportunity for the girls to earn, including the Chief Financial Officer or CFO patch and the Cookie Power patch or the CP patch. And the CP patch especially is an important one to learn about because through selling at least 36 boxes, girls can earn enough troop profit to help pay for their membership fee for the next year. So that's something that you can discuss as a troop to see if that's something that you want to do. There aren't any checkpoints for the cookie season discussion, but feel free to write down notes, make decisions, talk about it as much as you want to with your parents, because I'm sure they'll be interested in the topic. Spring Renewal. So Spring Renewal is your troop's chance to come together and make a promise to have an even better next year. Help girls get excited about badges and journeys, traveling, and giving back to the community by talking about next year now. Spring Renewal for the 2020 membership year will be from April 1st, 2019 through June 12th, 2019. Again, we changed it from June 30th and just made it also the second Wednesday of June. And so this is the question, why does GSNEO ask troops to renew so early? Why do we want you to renew in April and May? First off, it helps GSNEO plan our budget so that we can know how to plan programming for the next year. If we know how many members are returning, we can plan an even better programming ahead of time. Every year we get feedback that our courses aren't big enough or they didn't have enough time to register, but we can plan bigger, better, more fun programs if we have a better idea of how many girls and volunteers will be there to attend. It also makes back to school easier for your troop by being ready to go at the beginning of the year. So no more waiting for girls to come back, chasing them around, asking parents and families about their Girl Scout status. Ask them now, encourage them now, and they'll be more likely to return, and you can get started on back to school easier. The girls can also be more involved in their planning for the next year. They'll make their voice heard and get excited about whatever badges and journeys that you plan to do. So again, remember to ask them what they want to do. What will make them want to stay? What gets them jazzed about Girl Scouts? And now is the time for them to answer. And finally, it can make fall product sale a breeze. Know who's returning and participating without having to reach out and ask last minute. Earning money for your troop can help you fulfill all of those promises that you made to girls before who said that they would return. Encourage families to renew in the spring so that they can plan to start early on money earning and earn the money that they need to reach their goals during the fall instead of waiting until cookie season. Get started on earning money and starting and doing different programs in the fall instead of waiting until the girls have earned money in the spring. And during the Spring Renewal discussion, you'd be covering what the girls in your troops are excited about, Girl Scouts, what makes them want to return, like I said before. This is a really important question to ask because, again, this is how you are tailoring the troop to your girl-specific desires and their skills and their passions. Ask girls, whoops, sorry about that. Yeah. And then you're going to talk about who's renewing the girls, the parents or the troop. Remember, you can use the cookie patch earnings if they decide to do that to renew the troop, and the leader can actually go on MyGS and do it all at once, or you could have the parents do it individually. And then here are the checkpoints. These will be the bulk of what you're informing your CME about. This is your chance to tailor your troop to suit its specific needs and goals. We suggest using the answers from your previous discussions about what troops want to do to design a plan that will help you see that this happens and make your Girl Scout troop about the girls and set the bar high. You have endless resources and support from us, with the Nook and the VTK, and we can always find ways to help your troop reach your goals. If you ever need any additional help, you can always ask parents in your troop to help step up into a volunteer role too. And remember, they don't have to be a primary leader. They don't have to be a troop leader or a troop admin. They could be the troop treasurer or even just a helping hands. Really, the more help you can get, the better, and the more involved they can be in their Girl Scout experience, the better. If people are unsure if they're returning for next year, this is when you can ask them what will make them want to return. Go back to that conversation that you had earlier. What is their vision for the troop? What do the girls want for the troop? How can you as a leader help that to happen? And maybe other parents as volunteers help that to happen. And this might look like a pretty hefty list of questions, but most of them can be answered pretty quickly with the information that you've discussed throughout the meeting. So and remember that there will be the best practices section in the beginning of your leader facilitation guide. So that can help you to stay on track and to get all of these questions answered efficiently. And lastly, I want to talk about the troop consults. Again, this is a meeting for this is your troop's chance to have everyone's voice heard and then communicated directly with a council staff member. So once you're finished with your spring readiness meeting, you can take your finalized checkpoints page, which remember we have the comprehensive page at the end of your handout, and give that to your CME or a service team member during a troop consult meeting. And this is your chance to let council know, what are your goals, your priorities, and your intentions for the next year, and how can we help you reach those goals? What resources, opportunities can we let you know about and give to you to help your girls reach those goals? The consult should happen during the months of January to March, and you should schedule for it right after your spring readiness family meeting. I don't mean that day, but I mean pretty soon after, so that you can, get that communicated, get all the decisions fresh and communicated to your CME or service team member. And the consult should happen before spring renewal starts on April 1st, so that we can know where your troop is, where your status should be for spring renewal. So the checkpoints are your written goals, which the CME will keep track of and help you reach. And one important goal is your spring renewal goal, which will let council know how many girls in your troops we can expect to renew during spring renewal. And of course, will result in your troop earning some pretty awesome incentives. In order to qualify for spring renewal incentives, your troop should have at least 65% of your girls renewed during spring renewal, so between April 1st and June 12th, 2019, which is why it's important to start having these conversations now. Promise girls a great year and encourage them to return so that you can earn some really wonderful benefits for the 2020 year. Let the girls get excited about next year and get the parents excited for their girl for the next year as well. So that's everything. I feel like I just talked everyone's ear off for a long time. So we are going to be hosting a second webinar about this, the spring readiness meeting and troop consults, and that was the one that Kim mentioned earlier. So that's at December 12th at 6 o'clock. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask your CME. You can ask customer care. We can get those questions answered for you as soon as possible. So are there any questions now? I know it's like a fire hydrant of information, but remember that the resources are coming so you can figure it all out.
I'm just checking to see if I know how to use this.
We hear you.
Oh, good. Can you see me now? Because I just turned the video on.
Let me see.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
I see you, Casey.
Oh, cool. Thank you. I got on at the very beginning and was doing other things, so I left it off, but I wanted to make sure I could use it the next time I got on here again.
Perfect.
I'm a new Daisy leader in Akron, so this is all brand new news to me. I didn't even know that this meeting existed that I have to do.
Yeah.
So, because we haven't done too much yet, in fact, we're having our first real kid meeting today.
Yay.
Exciting.
Yeah, we're excited. Not sure. We had a parent meeting to start the year off a couple weeks ago. So a lot of this information that's being requested, we kind of discussed the other day. So this is something that we have to do again. I guess I'm confused on how soon we're going to have to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can answer that question for you. First off, you hadn't heard of it yet because this is the first time that we're really announcing it and giving out the information for it. So that makes sense that you hadn't heard of it before. And since you did just have your parent meeting, this doesn't have to happen until maybe January, but I would recommend mentioning it to your parents maybe today at the troop meeting. Let them know that this is something that these questions are things that you want to get answered and start the conversation. And I'm sure, maybe come January when cookie season, or even, December, if you're planning on talking to them about cookie season before then, if your troop is planning on selling, you could talk to them about it then. Maybe say, when we're talking about cookie season, I really want to talk to you also about what else is coming up in the spring. I have this really comprehensive guide to the spring season for you that I think you'll appreciate, because it's basically everything you need to know about the spring season in one 4-page packet. So maybe they would be willing to come to a troop meeting. And if you've already discussed a lot of it, maybe, like I said, this meeting can be customizable. It doesn't have to be 60 to 90 minutes. It could be a lot shorter, abbreviated version for your troop.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for speaking up and letting us see your face. Most people don't do that, so it's nice to.
Well, I can't even see what you can see of me, so that's kind of scary.
We see you. We see your face.
Okay.
Any other questions from anybody?
I don't see any other questions in the question log either, Megan. I
Okay.
think you did a really great job of explaining these 2 meetings, really. So the first, so just to recap in a high-level summary, we are asking troops to hold a parent meeting in about January to ask some critical questions and then to meet with us in March-ish to give us the answers to those questions. I think it's really important that we're communicating across all the lines. We want to know how we can help you, like Megan mentioned, but also we know from surveys and what parents have said that when they're communicated with, they have a better experience. Their daughters are happier in Girl Scouting. And the extra bonus, they think their leaders are amazing. So, which we know they are, but if we don't talk to the parents and tell them what's going on, then they don't know it all the time. So it's 2 meetings, parent meeting sometime January-ish, meeting with the CME staff person, and that CME might actually delegate some of the work to a service team member. So it might be a CME or a volunteer in your community sometime in February, March, so we can have better understanding and communication and be able to better support our troops. So we want to thank you for that and all that you do with the Girl Scouts and to make the girls have a wonderful experience. We could never, ever do this without our fantastic troop leaders.
Yeah, that's for sure. I also want to make the point, I am going to be creating mini training modules to go on the Nook by the end of the week. So those will just basically be each little topic that I talked about today, how to plan the meeting, what is the meeting, the details of the meeting, will be little 2 to 5 minute training modules that you can watch so that if someone is wondering about a specific topic about the meeting, they don't have to go back and watch this whole webinar. They don't have to read through the entire PowerPoint presentation. They could just watch a quick video. So we're really trying to make it as clear as possible what the meeting is and why it's important, and make it seem easy and attainable for you as a troop leader. It shouldn't be overwhelming. Even though I just talked your ear off about it, it shouldn't be overwhelming because, like I said, most of this information you already know anyway. So.
Great.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think that wraps us up for today. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around, whether you're here with us in person, which we love, 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 or whether you're listening to the recording. Thank you for making the time to do so. We hope everyone has a really great day.
Thanks, everyone.